In this video I'm going to show you how to run the new finish line mode within Sole. So first you'll need to get the product ID and the colour ID for the product that you're running for. Most of the time this will be put in the Discord in a guide, especially if it's a hype drop, but I'll just show you how to get it in case you want to test or if it's for a drop that we don't have a guide for. So you'll go to the product on the Finishline website. The product ID is the one beginning with prod here after the slash. So for this it will be prod 770877, and the colour ID is right at the end of the URL here, so it's 102. So before you create your tasks you'll need to know the product and colour ID of what you're going to be running for. Another thing to note is that Finishline don't cancel for multiples as long as you have a good and accepted address. And what I mean by this is if you have, say, a jigged address or a catch-all or a phone number that isn't real, they might just straight up reject the address and all orders that you place on this address will be cancelled. So you should try and get a good address. This is a little bit of trial and error, but what you can do if you wanted was perhaps order some socks or laces manually before the drop and see if they ship. If not, you can just run anyway and you'll soon learn whether the orders get cancelled or if they ship. But if you do get a good profile where the orders are accepted by Finishline, you can use this one profile for all your tasks and you won't get cancels and you can get multiples fine. So with this profile I just recommend using your real address with no chicken at all, a real email address, so from a real provider such as Gmail rather than a catch-all, and then also a phone number from the correct state. So if you are from New York, for example, you'll use a New York phone number rather than one that's made up or from a different state. Regarding proxies on Finishline, a lot of proxies are banned. However, the same proxies that work on Yeezy Supply generally work on Finishline, so this will be good residential providers along with some data center providers. You can look in the Discord at perhaps a successful setups channel where you'll see what providers people have had success with, and you can perhaps purchase some from there. To create a task, navigate in the Add Tasks bar to Finishline, and then it's pretty straightforward. So you'll enter the product ID and colour ID like I just showed you before in these first. Then you can choose the size that you want, the proxy, the profile, and then set a timer. For Finishline, the tasks will work much faster and have a much higher chance of copying if you use a timer. So although this isn't necessary, I would recommend setting the timer to the exact time of the drop. So say if the drop was at 10 AM, I'd set the timer exactly to 10 AM and then add the tasks. Once you've created your tasks on a release timer, you want to start them once the drop is approaching. We would recommend that you start them between 5 and 8 minutes before the drop to allow plenty of time for them to generate the cookies early, as if you do it too close to the drop, the bot protection may be up, and then if you fail to generate the cookies, your tasks won't be able to proceed. So we recommend starting the tasks between 5 and 8 minutes before the drop. So if you're running quite a few tasks, you would maybe want to stagger them between, say, 9:52 and 9:55 if it were a 10 AM drop. I can't show this particularly well now, the staggering, because I'm only doing one task, but say if it was a 10 AM drop, it's about 5 or 6 minutes before the drop now, which is in that window that I suggested, so I'm going to start this task. It will load the site, begin to generate the cookies, then it will prepare and generate a couple more cookies before going to waiting. Once it's waiting, the timer will count down into the one that you set when creating the task, and this is when the task will begin. So you want to set it again to remind you to the exact time of the drop, so as soon as this turns to 10 AM, this task will begin. I'll come back in a second once this timer is about to finish. So it's now approaching the drop. There's about 25 seconds to go until the 10 AM drop, so we'll just wait for this to count down. A thing I will note in the meanwhile is regarding delays. If you're running on a timer, I would run 1000 for both delays, but if you were running random, I would up these delays to maybe 2500 or 3000. I'll mention this again in a second. As you'll see, once the task finishes counting down, it will load the product page, add to cart, submit details, and go straight to submit an order. My card has declined here because I have frozen it, but you see the checkout there was about 2 seconds, So this is why we really recommend using a timer, as it allows for the task to be prepared, and as soon as the drop time occurs, it will be able to add to cart and check out. Back to delays, you can use the mass edit window to change your delays. And again, if you're using a timer, 1,000 should be good. If you weren't using a timer and you're running consistently, I would have these much higher, perhaps around 3,000 each, as you wouldn't want to get banned. Hopefully this video has everything you need to know about running Finishline within Sole. If there's anything you're still not sure about after watching this video, feel free to make a ticket and a support member will help you.